Coming up on this week's Secrets from a Coach.
Define what a good culture even looks or feels like, Law. What is that?
So where I've seen cultures change overnight on a dime is where something horrendous has happened, and that instantly sits on that collective organisation psyche. And people in that scenario go, never again, we're never going to enable that to happen. And you see like a fresh energy.
Secrets from a Coach. Thrive and maximise your potential in the evolving workplace. Your weekly podcast with Debbie Green of Wishfish and Laura Thompson-Staveley of Phenomenal Training.
Debs.
Law, how you doing?
I'm doing really well, thank you. I'm back on local time after my exciting travels. It was amazing to go over to Seattle, and this is an exciting month for you as well. So tell us what this month means to you, Debs.
Yeah, so this month was the month that I went out on my own and decided to set up Wishfish. And I've never looked back since. So Wishfish is 20 years old this month, which is quite unbelievable, really, as to how it's evolved over time and the relationships we've built and the people we've met. And yeah, I pinch myself sometimes that, 20 years worth of just doing things you love doing, right?
Oh, and you and I have known each other since 2010, so you must have been going for 5 years then before then, and then you and I I can't imagine working life without you, Debs. I mean, we've just collaborated for so many years, and you've introduced me to some amazing people and to some amazing opportunities, and to be able to work with clients and make that difference is such a privilege.
Yeah.
So 2005, now what's crazy, Debs, is in the UK at least, the smoking ban had only just come in.
No way.
And as you say about how much has happened in that last 20 years, I just think that links really powerfully to our current four-part focus, which is looking at what makes successful, thriving workplace cultures.
Yeah,
which is a big topic of our times. So we're going to be looking at why is a focus on culture important, what makes it relevant to sort of real life impacts, and then we can have a bit of a chat about sort of suggestions and recommendations, because it's quite a complicated, big topic, I guess, isn't it? And always our intention with our podcast is to just make it really easy, to not overly complicate things where it's not required, but so we can all be maybe a bit more mindful, a bit more intentional with some of those everyday decisions we make, whether you're formally responsible for culture or you're part of culture. Because if you're stuck in traffic, you're part of traffic.
Yes, you are. That's what you always say. I always think about that. Okay, yes, I'm part of this. Okay, I'll just sit here and sing. Create my own little hybrid culture in the car. Because that's the thing, isn't it, Laura? Because culture is a big thing, and it's about, you might have all the shiny bits and bobs and the vision and the mission and the purpose and the values, but if the behaviours aren't aligned to that and you're not creating the environment that enables people to understand that culture and be part of it, then it isn't just luck, it's with intent. And I think, we've been over the years looking at different organisations where you just feel the culture, but there's also the micro cultures that go in to departments and they have their own culture, and it can be toxic and it can also be amazing. So we thought we would, I thought I would sort of ask you some questions about it, because, following your lovely trip that you've just done, you went to the home of Starbucks in Seattle, and you also went to the home of the fish philosophy, didn't you? So that creating the culture around there. So I suppose based on those and based on your experience, define what a good culture even looks or feels like, Law. What is that?
Oh, God, I mean, that's such a big question. I mean, I liken it to the culture that you grow within a petri dish. So that idea of it being a living organism and how it's each of those different ingredients. You've got the kind of the Petri dish, you've got the vehicle that is either the organisation or the service. So whether you are part of an enormous organisation like the 1.4 million people, is that right? Or 1.2 million people that are part of the National Health Service, or whether
Wow.
you're in a startup and you're looking to then set the culture and then kind of replicate and grow it. And I think what has created this kind of real focus on culture is the more the variety of the people that you've got there, the more conscious you may need to be to create an environment where everyone can flourish. So a great culture isn't just where the people that are paid the most who sit at the top think it's a great place to work. It is how, I describe frontline teams as the till of the organisation, whether that's measured in sales or service or repeat subscriptions or client or patient satisfaction or safeguarding measures, whatever that kind of end goal is. Really, it should be, people can only be what they see. So whatever behaviours, ways of working, how we do things around here that are required for success in your frontline teams should be modelled and shown all the way through that organisation.
Yeah, and when you think about that, then how do, I suppose, leaders lead well enough that they're still in touch with that front line, even though they might be, I don't know, 10 or 12 levels up or whatever it is? Because we always, work in some organisations that have bands and levels, and it's like, whoa, and it's like, how many levels to get to a director? So how do leaders create the right culture that does enable people, as you always say, to thrive and maximise their potential? How do leaders set the tone? How do they, is it how they show up in meetings? Is it how they walk the floor? Is it how they handle conflict? How they make decisions? I mean, it's so broad, but they shape it, right? As you said, whether you are a small startup or you're a large organisation, people look up to the leaders to be the right mix of culture and showing the way. But how does that happen?
I think, and the leaders, I think, the word going through my mind was about culture architects. So there'll be certain key people within a team. So if I think about my very first proper job I had working for a really successful recruitment brand, head office was in London. And one of the key architects was the chap who was the janitor's the wrong expression, but he was in charge of all of the kind of the property within the head office that we were based in. And he was funny. He would go around and sort of share all the gossip, and he would always be there at kind of every kind of event. Obviously, this is back in the year 2000 where you had to work sort of in person. But Hugh wasn't sitting on the senior board, but Hugh had the ear of everyone. And so he would be someone that I would describe. You often see EAs or PAs or receptionist teams being the equivalent of these kind of culture architects. Get them on board and you got everyone kind of on board. But I think the first step is for it to be really clear to articulate what is it that we want to see in our people. And you mentioned the fish philosophy. So we just do a little kind of foray on that. So,
let's do that one.
So what made the fish philosophy so successful? So it was invented in the year 2000. My first boss, the training manager of this recruitment brand I worked for, she was the very first training manager to buy in the fish DVD. Oh, no, they weren't DVDs. They were VHS videos.
It was a VHS. But it was a VHS.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're right. So in a pack of stuff.
Yeah. So we'd kind of put the video in, go off and have a fag. No, we didn't. We sat there diligently and kind of sat there with the learners. But on the kind of week-long induction process, so the FISH philosophy was used to bring to life what does it mean to deliver an exceptional standout service proposition, whether that's internal customer service or whether it's external. And what the FISH philosophy was all about was articulating really clearly. So I think this is step number one, being really clear so people can see these simple values or ways of being. And the reason why it's called a FISH philosophy is it was a way to articulate what is the identity of the service experience when you shop and buy fish at the Pike Street Fish Market in Seattle. So it's smelly, it's cold, it's noisy, it's damp, but there's something about the way they articulated the fish philosophy, from selling fish that caught the hearts, minds, and imagination, and it became a thing. And the four the sentiments that they were saying were really important to bring to life a great customer service was play, be there, make their day, and choose your attitude. And Debs, what was crazy when I was there is it was like a 25-year time loop. I could remember sitting there and having all of the workbooks, and we really kind of got into it.
You used to have all the workbooks and the little book that went with it. Yeah, I remember that.
And people loved it because it just kind of made it really, really straightforward. And of course, I put my AI robotic process automation hat through it, thinking, do these things still stand today? But when I went to Seattle and I went there to Pike Street Market, it was like hanging outside the green, the theatre door, to sort of see your fan, and it still stands the test today. And there were customers like queuing up, videoing on their phones, which of course wouldn't happen in 2000.
No, that's true. But hence we had VHS.
Absolutely. But this idea of playing, so bringing light and energy and optimism to your day-to-day tasks. How important is that in 2025 when we see just how much people on lots of engagement surveys are saying they feel overwhelmed or overloaded or unrecognised? Yeah. The second sentiment is to be there. So it's all about the customer. I've been away for a couple of days and we ate out one afternoon, and it is infuriating when you are there as a customer and you can see all of the staff standing by the till having a chat. Yeah. And you're there kind of going, can we get our drink soon?
Hello.
And it's these like small moments that you think, actually, I didn't want to be negative online, but I didn't want to leave a review because I just felt a bit disappointed because the location was fab, the food was fab, but the service wasn't there. It wasn't present.
There. Yeah.
The third sentiment is make their day. So make your customer feel super important. So greeting and, getting their name right and all those types of things to make them feel good about themselves. And the key one underpinning it, the fourth one, is choose your attitude. So you've set the tone for the day ahead. And it was really interesting, Debs, given almost like a 2025 sniff test. Does that still stand today? Even the smelliest, least desirable workplaces selling fish on a fish market, it's they just tapped into making it really simple. So I think step one is to make it really simple and articulate. Yeah. Step two is find your architects, not just the people that are paid the most. Yeah. In fact, Debs, what about that trainees analysis we were doing in that organisation last week, and they said, don't have the senior leaders starting off the videos. That'll turn everyone off.
That was, we turn them off and we go, right, thank you for that feedback. That's really useful to know. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
It just shows you, doesn't it? It's that was fascinating, wasn't it, when we heard that?
It was.
Because they want to be, and this is the challenge, isn't it? Certainly we found this before. The senior leaders want to be seen, to be investing and be part of it. And there are, I suppose over my time, there have been some real genuine ones that people just accept. But there have also been some where they've just gone, oh, here we go. Roll their eyes as, the CEO or the MD rolls back into the room and then rolls back out again. They never see him again. So, yeah, that was interesting, that, isn't it? How you got to be smart, haven't you?
Absolutely. And actually what they said is it would be far more powerful in this organisation that's got 7,000 people, so it's a large organisation, was the key sort of, not famous people, but the ones that are trusted and are well known in each of the different areas and regions.
Characters as well.
Yes, the characters.
Yeah, the characters. And I suppose when you think about that, and you think about how you can create that environment where those people maybe aren't the CEO or the MD, but they are still very pivotal to shaping the environment and the culture. What do you think it is that reinforces the way that people are being? What needs to be present in order for somebody to align themselves to that culture?
Great question. And I think a lot of it is around being really clear on the impact that these culture things have.
So what does that actually mean in reality, Law?
So I found myself using more and more this slide that I was introduced to probably about 10 years ago now, when I started to first get into health and safety leadership. So the impact that culture has on the safety and health behaviours within an organisation. Just as an aside, if anyone here has ever got anything where they need to do something similar, nothing puts groans or rolls people's eyes on adults more than a health and safety workshop.
Yes.
So
yes.
over the years, I've sort of racked my brains how to dress it up a little bit. And funny enough, when you call it a safety and health workshop, people are a bit more, that sounds interesting. So just switching the word.
Switch the words. Yeah, okay.
I also call them sometimes the heart and soul workshops, the H and S, heart and soul.
Nice.
Because
that's smart, Law.
if you're on 15 grand or 415 grand, your body and mind is just as vulnerable as everyone else. So that's the kind of the real connector with safety and health. Anyway, there's a slide that I was introduced to a while ago, and I just think it's really handy for all organisations offering all sorts of different things. And imagine there are these kind of 4 bubbles that all make up a culture. So you've got values, beliefs, attitudes, behaviours.
Okay.
So let's take an example of safety, and then I'll use one I've been using in the video gaming world around quality. So we use a safety one first of all. So let's say that everyone says out loud, I value safety. So up and down an organisation, left to right, everyone is saying, yeah, I value safety because this, we've got some safety critical moments. But where it starts to then differ is the beliefs. So let's say one person is saying, and my belief is every incident and accident is preventable. And that then creates an attitude of fervently, rigorously wanting to find out how something could have been improved or how we can avoid something happening in the future.
Okay.
And the behaviour you would then see is an appetite to have meetings, reading all the info and actually answering emails. So you would see the behaviours there that would show all the way back that actually that person values safety.
Yeah,
but the difference kicks in at the belief. So let's say you've got someone else going, yeah, I value safety, but my belief is sometimes bad things happen to good people, and that's just the way it is. So my attitude is maybe not quite as focused on trying to find out what happened. Maybe it's a little bit more accepting. So the behaviour you'd see in that person would be a little bit less appetite to go to meetings, to book in that lessons learned, and you would just see maybe an apathy rather than an engagement.
Yeah.
So it can be a bit of an eye-opener when you look at, well, we can all talk about values. So we might have it on our company literature. It might be plastered all over the world, all over the walls. But the values isn't really what sets the tone behaviourally. It's the beliefs. And what shapes humans' beliefs? Stories. So where I've seen cultures change overnight on a dime is where something horrendous has happened. And that instantly sits on that collective organisation psyche. And people in that scenario go, never again, we're never going to enable that to happen. And you see like a fresh energy around it. And so, of course, as the years go on, people forget stuff. As AI and robotic process automation makes it more and more convenient to maybe do some of the aspects of our work, it's about not scaring people with horrible doom stories, but just reminding people of the impact of that. So to link to your question around how do we get sort of culture there, I think often just joining the dots up and people seeing, but the reason why that has happened or the reason why that didn't happen is as a result of the culture. People can only be what they see, and if no one else seems to be bothering about it, then it's convenient for me to not.
So I suppose if we were to then look at your favourite topic ever, which is communication, what needs to change to create the right culture?
Oh, great question. So, just like these AIs are learning from our behaviours and our language, so everyone who's sort of familiar-ish with AI knows what you put into it, it will start to sort of mirror you in terms of how it then comes back. So I was having a laugh with someone when I was over in Seattle. My ChatGPT is so friendly and motivational, Debs. Like it will say to me every now and then, well done, you're doing a really good job, Laura.
Yeah.
And that's
mine does as
Oh
well
my God.
sometimes.
And then
that was fun. Thank you for that question. Yeah.
And then this Mike was saying, he'll go to his ChatGPT or their Copilot one. So he'll say, do you really think that's a good enough answer? And he'll go to his AI. So he gets back quite sparky, quite critiquey. It still does what he needs to do. But it mirrors what he's then doing. So let's take this and apply this into a human workplace. Whatever you put out there, is going to get reflected back. We're seeing it in our
Yeah.
AIs. And if you imagine this is like an ocean, if I chuck a load of rubbish into the ocean, at some point it's going to float up on a beach. If I chuck a load of stuff out as a leader within a team, then just like child rearing, guess what? At some point that will start, those chickens will come home to roost, and you'll start to see that. So I think from a practical point of view is watching your language, and it's not the formal stuff that's on lovely glossy catalogues, it's the informal everyday stuff. And if we were to channel the army leadership approach, I know you're going to guess what I'm going to say here. So
Go on, I know what you're going to say.
2 up in 10.
2 up in 10.
Yes! Churn that out around the old carousel.
That's ingrained in my brain.
In 2030, we'll call it the 3 up in 10. Yeah.
Oh, well, let's try that one. Yeah.
What does your AI
I don't think that will work, though. Yeah.
So the 2 up in 10 is apparently where every frontline soldier, whenever a task is delegated or explained, the strategic intent 2 levels upwards is shared as well. So this is what we're doing. Here's the context. Here's the purpose. So it's just such an easy way to look at, as part of that everyday communication that feeds into the culture, people being able to join the dots up. This is what I'm doing. Yeah. This is the context and this is the purpose. And it also helps enable an intergenerational workforce to be able to get them. Now, can I share with you the story that blew my mind that I picked up last week, Debs?
Yeah, please do, Laura, because are you going to blow my mind like you did with the other stats that you shared with me?
I just can't get this out of my head. So working in a well-known everyday brand, we all know the name, but we never disclose who the client is because otherwise people wouldn't tell us their secrets.
But exactly.
Just to say, wherever you are in the world, you would have heard of this brand. Yeah. And we're looking at a project around how to fast track knowledge transfer by equipping their mentors with some brilliant skills. And I know you've done loads of stuff around mentoring, and this is about putting these mentors, sort of champions, through some handy tools to be able to equip them to be able to share with their mentees their inside workings out. Because what they were seeing is that in moments of pressure, pivotal moments, the trainees, because they didn't understand the workings out and why that decision was made, they were then choking in that moment and not able to sort of perform under pressure. Anyway, their client had then said, even how we talk about time is showing some intergenerational differences. Okay. When we say to one of our trainees, the shift finishes at 4:20, they look at us blankly. You have to convert it into digital 16:20.
What? You're kidding?
No. Because
what? Why?
I knew that would blow your mind. Because if you're 19, you've been raised in a digital environment where time is always put to you as numeric only. So, for example, we're recording this at 1947.
1947, So, oh my God.
So if I said to you, we'll get online at 10:08.
Yeah, I'll go, all right then.
But you said just increasingly everyone's going, when is that? And then they have to convert it into digital. That blew my mind.
I had no idea. Oh my gosh. So what? Oh, wow.
That was like when I heard in the year 2017, when I had my first wake up and smell the silicon moment, that people at that point, this was 2017, don't worry, Devs, it didn't include either of us. It was around the age of 24. But apparently what doorbell manufacturers and button manufacturers were finding was in 2017, it's a niche podcast, Devs. In 2017, anyone over the age of 24 would use their finger to press a button.
Right.
Everyone under the age of 24 would use their thumb. Because the thumb had been started to be like a much more important digit as a result of thumb IDs and all that kind of stuff.
Wow. That is crazy. So even cultures can shift on a nanosecond, and it's shifting all the time, really. But what would be your, I suppose, words of wisdom to say to people or to help people understand the importance of culture then?
If this were a Petri dish, what are the ingredients, live and part of our processes, that are essential for our success for the next 5 years? What do we need to start growing now in order to sustain or refresh our ways of working? And the simplest way I learned this from you to describe culture is the way things are done around here.
Yeah.
If that worked for you, that model of your 4 bubbles: values, behaviours, values, beliefs, attitude, behaviour. Well, if you just tell people to behave in different ways, that could be seen as patronising, and people might just sort of nod along, but unwatched, they don't do it differently. Attitude can be kind of really vulnerable to the moods around others as well. Values, we can all profess to having the same values, but the key bit, I believe, Debs, is beliefs. And beliefs are influenced by stories. So get your stories, share pockets of where best practice. So it's not just kind of talking about the bad stuff all the time. It's sharing some shooting star stories, we call them, of, let's say you're in the midst of a grueling change process, and everyone is just getting really fed up with it. Sharing and disseminating those stories of where that change is starting to land well, or where it's made people's lives easier or better. Because the beliefs is that collective belief around an organisation. And do you remember we did that stuff around the whispers?
Yes, we did.
So
that was a good one, wasn't it? It's the whispers
that you hear. So I think what a leader can do is get close to your people, find out what's going on. If people don't trust you yet, or there's a bit of a disconnect, then find your architects. So the champions, it might be called in your place. And then some of the things that we're doing with clients at the moment is using ready-made networks in creative ways. For example, with the client that we had the meeting with last week, who was saying, for God's sake, don't use the board for the videos. It's then, okay, well, who are some people that are captured the hearts and the trust, and they've got a mental health first aider network. And actually the MHFA networks are perfectly positioned to be able to not load them with more stuff, but just to be able to involve them in some of the design and the delivery of these bite-sized bits of content.
Because they're going to hear it, right? Firsthand.
And if they're bought in, everyone else will be bought in as well. So articulate it, find your people who can then replicate it.
Nice.
And it's about sharing those stories. It's the stories that catch fire, because that influences beliefs, and it's the beliefs that shape the everyday attitudes and behaviours.
Oh my God, I love that. So that would be nice for me. My call to action would be, for anybody listening to this, is what is your story? And what story do you want to create that shows you in your best light and it's congruent with who you are? So think about, what is my story?
Oh, nice one, Debs. I was so excited thinking about robots, fish, telling the time. Haven't actually thought about my share the secret. Right, no. I know what it is. Share the secret. So if it is all around power to the people and to the networks, then if you listen to this and you think, oh, I know a couple of other people in my organisation who I know kind of shape the vibe, get them to listen to this, because often we don't realise just how much we do influence each other. And on that organisational hierarchy, you don't need to be top of the tree to be able to cast a big amount of light and shade. And so it's, I think it's about equipping and empowering people to be those culture change makers. So if you know someone who they don't know it, but you know it, that they have some real influence, get them to listen to this, and hopefully this just helps making it a bit more intentional.
Oh, that's been really cool. And I really enjoyed listening to your wisdoms coming through on this one, Laura, because it sets us up really nicely for the other episodes that we've got coming, which sort of expand on this even more. So, and I'm glad you're back from Seattle and able to share your wisdoms, which is so cool. But no, thanks, Laura.
It's been a pleasure.
So next week we're doing something else on culture, aren't we? So
we're 20 to 10?
20 to 10.
1940.
Yeah. What time's that?
No, 2140.
Let me get my digital clock out.
Yeah. I'm just gonna press the button with my thumb, with my massive index finger.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, we're going to do more stuff around culture and to take it from a variety of different perspectives. So welcome your thoughts as ever, because the intention of our podcast, episode 257, we are at
that's
now.
Not bad. And over 60,000 downloads,
Yes, Debs, I know.
Yeah, get in. I know.
That's both of our mums downloading 30,000 each.
That's what it is. Shh, don't tell anyone.
Going around on that cruise ship so we get all the different IP addresses. Oh, we're global, But as ever, our endeavour is in this incredible shape-shifting decade where the world of work is just evolving so quickly. Before you've written it, it's kind of evolved, and we're here to cheer you on and to just share some tips and tricks. And we're very fortunate, aren't we, Debs? We get to work behind the scenes with all sorts of organisations and to just be able to make it as simple as possible, so we can keep working the box that it is. So we're not overwhelmed, we're not overloaded, but we're enjoying our a good life-work balance with some flourishing work experiences. And if you're in your job at the moment and you hate it, no feeling is final. Listening to some of our back episodes as well of if you're looking for sort of reasons to leave or a bit of a confidence boost. And if you're not in work or you're currently in a role and you want to excel, then hopefully this will carry you through. So we've had some good feedback, haven't we, Debs, from different people over the years?
Yeah, we have. And we're going to start sharing some of that. So people want to contribute to the celebration. So we're going to celebrate with them. So we'll listen out for that. But have a good week, Laura.
Yeah, you too, Debs. And on that note, congratulations on 20 years of the Wishfish Coaching and Development family. It's been a movement. It's been wonderful to be part of it. I'm so grateful to have connected with you, and you've opened up so many doors to me, Debs, and so many people, and made so many people's lives better. So thank you so much, Debs and Wishfish.
Forever. But a pleasure. Wishing is just the beginning. That's where it started. So we could but have a good one.
Yeah, you too, Debs. Love you.
Love you. Bye.
Happy 20th anniversary to Wishfish. The biggest thank you to Debs for being there. My experience of Wishfish and Debs in particular has only spanned the last maybe year and a half, which means that 18 and a half years of my life, there's been a hole. There's been a Wishfish sized hole, and that's not easy to say. Debs, I can't thank enough. Thank you. And here's to the next 20 plus years. Take care. Bye.
Say happy birthday to Wishfish. Happy 20th birthday. I'm so privileged and so lucky to have Debs as my coach. And she's helped me through possibly, or it is definitely, the toughest times in my life. I don't know what I would have done without her support, her guidance. Debs was there with tools, top tips, but just such a supportive place to be with her in that space. And it still continues to be, my favourite hour each month.
Deb, just reaching out to say thank you so much to you and the rest of the team for the work that you've done. It's been an absolutely seamless process, and I've been super impressed with how you in particular, but also the rest of the team, really listened and made sure that you understood what we were looking for when we first started working together.
Happy birthday, Wishfish. Can't believe it's 20 years since you started. Your impact has been extraordinary. So happy birthday, Wishfish. And here's to the next 20 years.
Happy birthday, Wishfish. Who would believe 20 years young? It's an amazing business to work alongside, and I'm so very grateful for all that you have done across the several companies where you've supported me and my team to really become the best versions of ourselves.
I had the pleasure of working with Wishfish and the wider Wishfish team on the design and delivery of a leadership programme for over 400 employees, and I couldn't have been more thrilled to work with them. Not only do they bring their deep expertise in the L&D field, but they possess an uncanny ability to get right to the heart of your business and tailor any solutions accordingly. Even more, Debs is an absolutely life-changing coach, and the whole team is so warm-hearted and generous with their time. They're an absolute pleasure to work with.
Oh my word, where do I start? Debs and Wishfish were my absolute rock during one of the hardest chapters of my life. Debs helped me to visualise my future beyond the trauma, understand my strength and my worth, and to move through challenges calmly, well, mostly, carefully, and positively. I came through in good shape and ready for a future in which both my business and my wider life are happy, secure, and focused on good things. I am eternally grateful to you fabulous people. You are making a real difference.
We hope you've enjoyed this podcast. We'd love to hear from you. Email us at contact@secretsfromacoach.com or follow us on Insta or Facebook. If you're a Spotify listener, give us a rating as it's easier for people to find us. And if you want to know more, visit our website www.secretsfromacoach.com and sign up for our newsletter, here to cheer you on and help you thrive in the ever-changing world of work.